album, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, also became commercially successful, later going gold. Franklin scored 2 more top 10 singles in 1967, including Baby I Love You and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Her peak recordings with Atlantic. Now, in 1968, she issued the top-selling albums Lady Soul and Aretha Now, which included some of her most popular hit singles, including Chain of Fools.
Chain, chain, chain.
Success expanded during the early 1970s, during which she recorded the multi-week R&B #1, Don't Play That Song, You Lied, as well as the top 10 singles Spanish Harlem, Rock Steady, and Daydreaming. Some of these releases were from the acclaimed album Spirit in the Dark and Young, Gifted, and Black. She returned to gospel music in a 2-night live church recording with the album Amazing Grace, in which she interpreted standards such as Mahalia Jackson's How I Got Over. Amazing Grace sold more than 2 million copies. In 1971, Franklin became the first R&B performer to headline Fillmore West, later that year releasing the live album, Aretha Live, at Fillmore West. Franklin's career began to experience problems, though, while recording the album Hey Now Hey, which featured production from Quincy Jones. Despite the success of the single Angel, the album bombed upon its release in 1973. Franklin continued having R&B success, though, with songs such as Until You Come Back to Me and I'm in Love. But by 1975, her albums and songs were no longer top sellers. After Jerry Wexler left Atlantic for Warner Brothers Records in 1976, Franklin worked on the soundtrack to the film Sparkle with Curtis Mayfield. The album yielded Franklin's final top 40 hit of that decade, Something He Can Feel, which also peaked at #1 on the R&B chart. Franklin's follow-up albums from Atlantic include Sweet Passion, 1977, Almighty Fire in 78, and La Diva, 1979. But they bombed on the charts, and in 1979, Franklin left the company.
All right. Yeah. Come on.
In 1980, after leaving Atlantic Records, Franklin signed with Clive Davis's Records, and the same year gave a command performance at London's Royal Albert Hall in front of Queen Elizabeth. Franklin also had an acclaimed guest role as a soul food restaurant proprietor and wife of Matt Goodtar Murphy. That was in the 1980 comedy musical Blues Brothers. Franklin's first Arista album, Aretha 1980, featured the #3 R&B hit United Together. And her Grammy-nominated cover of Redding's I Can't Turn You Loose, the follow-up, 1981's Love All the Hurt Way, included her famed debut of the title track with George Benson. On the album was also included her Grammy-winning cover of Sam and Dave's Hold On, I'm Coming. Franklin achieved a gold record for the first time in 7 years with the 1982 album Jump to It. The album's title track was her first top 40 single in the pop charts in 6 years. Following the year, she released Get It Right, produced by Luther Vandross. And in 1985, inspired by a desire to have a younger sound in her music, Who's Zooming Who became her first Aretha album to be certified platinum. Now the album sold well over 1 million copies thanks to the hits Freeway of Love, that was the title track, and Another Night. The next year's Aretha album nearly matched the success with the hit singles Jumpin' Jack Flash, Jimmy Lee, and I Knew You Were Waiting for Me, her international #1 debut with George Michael. Now during that period, Franklin provided vocals to the theme songs of the TV shows A Different World and Together. In 1987, she issued her third gospel album, One Lord, One Faith, One Baptism, which was recorded at her late father's New Bethel church. That was followed by Through the Storm in 1989. The same year, Franklin performed America the Beautiful in WWE's WrestleMania 3, the company's third annual entertainment spectacular. That was in her home state of Michigan. That was Franklin's 1991 album, What You See Is What You Sweat, flopped on the charts then. She returned to the charts in 1993 with the dance song A Deeper Love, and returned to the top 40 with the song Willing to Forgive in 1994. Her final Aretha album, So Blank Happy, was released in 2003. Yeah, somebody knows that song, okay, I know the blank. Grammy-winning song, Wonderful. It was in 2004, Franklin announced that she was leaving Aretha after more than 20 years with that label. Now to complete her Aretha obligations, Franklin issued the Duets compilations album, Jewels in the Crown, All-Star Duets with the Queen in 2007. The following year, she issued the holiday album, The Christmas Aretha on DMI Records. And in February 2006, she performed the Star Spangled Banner with Aaron Neville and Dr. John for Super Bowl XL40 held in her hometown of Detroit, a Super Bowl I had the pleasure of covering that year when the Steelers went and won. Side note. On January 20, 2009, Franklin made international headlines for performing My Country 'Tis of Thee at President Barack Obama's inaugural ceremony with her church hat. You remember that became popular and iconic online. And in 2010, Franklin accepted an honorary degree from Yale University. And in 2011, under her own label, Aretha's Records, she issued the album, Aretha, A Woman Falling Out of Love. In 2014, Franklin was signed under RCA Records, controller of the Aretha catalog, and a sister label to Columbia via Sony Music Entertainment, and worked with Clive Davis. In December 2015, Franklin gave an acclaimed performance of You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman at the 2015 Kennedy Center Honors during the section for honoree Carole King, who co-wrote that song. And during the bridge of the song, Franklin's performance, she got a standing ovation once she dropped her fur coat to the stage. Now she returned to Detroit's Ford Field on Thanksgiving Day 2016 to once again perform the national anthem before the game between the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions. Now while she was seated at that piano wearing a black fur coat and a lion stocking cap, Franklin gave a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner that lasted more than 4 minutes and featured a host of improvisations. Franklin released the album A Brand New Me in November 2017 with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, which used archived recordings from Franklin. It peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Top Classical Albums chart before her death and rose to number 2 after her death. While Franklin canceled some concerts in 2017 due to health reasons, and during an outdoor Detroit show, she asked the audience to keep me in your prayers, quote. Well, she was still garnering high favorable reviews for her skill and showmanship. It was at the Ravinia Festival on September 3rd, 2017, she gave her last full concert. Franklin's final performance was at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City during Elton John's 25th anniversary gala for the Elton John AIDS Foundation on November 7th, 2017. Franklin died at her home on August 16th, 2018 at the age of 76. American history wells up when Aretha sings. President Obama explained in response to her performance of A Natural Woman at the 2015 Kennedy Center Honors. President Obama went on to say, "Nobody embodies more fully the connection between the African American spiritual, the blues, R&B, rock and roll, and the way that the hardship and sorrow were transformed into something full of beauty and vitality and hope." Aretha Franklin.
Right.